Hi all, a quick episode of This Week in Fantasy Rugby today, ahead of this week's Premiership, URC and Super Rugby games. Before we get started, a quick note after today's Lions tour announcement for those asking about a Lions fantasy game. The Lions is quite a tricky format to build a game around, with only one match being played at a time. It's been tried before, most notably by Super Brew in 2017, as you can see in this screenshot, but no game has really nailed a good fantasy game for the Lions tour. Last time around in South Africa in 2021, there was no fantasy games. There was quite a few predictor games, but if a fantasy game does go live, you can be sure that I'll be covering it in detail here on the Fantasy Rugby Geek YouTube channel and on fantasyrugbygeek.com. Okay, so let's see how my teams got on last week, starting off with Super Rugby on Super Brew. All in all, a pretty good game week for me. 229 points. A lot of teams did quite well last week again, so I couldn't really stretch away, although I did have some green arrows in my team. My captain was Tom Wright. He got me 41 points after the captain bonus, and then I also had some good scores from Daniel Rona with 24.5 points, Joseph Suolihi with 25.5 points, Bowden Barrett with 23 points, Peter Lakai with 18, Carlo Tizzano with 18.5, and Antonio Waka on 16.5. So all in all, pretty good. Let's take a quick look at the Fantasy Rugby Geek table to see how things stand. Some strange things going on with the rank, but as far as I can see, H. Burr is in the lead on 2,542.5 points. Right behind him is Colin Flaherty's The Locks Are Loaded on 2,539 points. He got the yellow cap last week. And then in third place, we've got Bob Van Raj, the Flying Dutchman, with 2,520 points. And then right behind them, we've got Frowdy, Shongalolo, a boy named Stu, Sam Apfel, Jamie Leckie, and Yippee Trier. Moving on to the official game, it was a great week for me, 758 points. And like in Super Brew, it was a great week for a lot of teams. So although that score was really good, in terms of the week, it was pretty average. My top performers, again, Antonio Waka on 48 points. Artie Surveyor, massive 77 points. Carlo Tizzano, back on the try sheet, 53 points. Bowden Barrett, my captain, 112 points. Joseph Suolihi, 68. Corey Toole, Tom Wright, and then finally Jacob Ratu Maitavuki Neatkins on 47 points. Taking a quick look at the table, Colin Flaherty, the Connacht crew, leads the way on 7,609 points. He is fourth globally in the entire game, doing brilliantly. Then we've got Speed Mode, Laker Luca, a load of flankers, Jack Sully, then my team, Zach Guilford, Andrew Ewing, Reese's Piece, and then Aidan Collins Rugby is in 10th place. Okay, over to Champions Cup, and after two shock results with Northampton beating Leinster and Bordeaux beating Toulouse, my team is going to be an absolute shred for the final. I've got a few Bordeaux and Northampton players, but otherwise it's going to have to be a lot of changes and maybe points hits. In terms of my team, so James Lowe, captain, actually did pretty well, 36 points. Tommy O'Brien, 15.5 points. Juan Cruz Malia, 16.5 points. Had Louis Bielbieri, 25 points, which was a huge score. And Josh van der Fleer on 22.5 points. So 184.5 points. It's okay. I had Henry Pollock on my bench with 21.5 points. That hurt, especially after seeing Jack Willis's 4.5 points. It's not been a great tournament for my team at all. Champions Cup is a tricky one. It's often a bit of a lottery, but even so, I'm pretty disappointed with how my team's shaped out. Looking at the table then, leading the way is Rugby Ramblings, who also won the Women's Six Nations FRG League. Quite the fancy rugby player we got there. Then we got Frowdy in second place, Ewan Who's Army in third place, D Fortress in fourth, Tommy Kentish, Asti Bolt, Mr. Sofa, Wobblies, R Duncan 8 and Josh 1247. Well done to all of you. Big final round coming up. Okay, on to this week. We've got round 13 of Super Rugby, round 17 of the URC and round 16 of Premiership Rugby. Kicking off this week with Super Rugby, This week we had 3 teams on a bye, with the Highlanders, the Hurricanes and Moana all on byes. There's still some big matches in place. From a fantasy perspective, I really like the look of the Blues versus the Drua. The Blues looked good last week. I can see this being a high scoring fantasy points fest. I also like the Brumbies versus the Force. 2 high scoring teams who have plenty of players who are very capable of hauling. Looking at the players I've got my eye set on this week, starting up with Tom Wright of the Brumbies. He's a dangerous carrier, and in round 12 he carried for 115 metres, beat 8 defenders and made 4 clean breaks. It's hard to believe that he's actually yet to score a try this season, but this could be the match to change that. Then I've gone for AJ Lamb of the Blues. He was a late benching last round, but he's starting again in this round. He scored 2 tries in his last 3 appearances and should do some serious damage against the Drua. Carlo Tizzano of the Force, he was back on the score sheet in round 12 and he's on 12 tries for the season now. He's just too good to ignore. Bowden Barrett of the Blues, on kicking duty against the Drua, he had a great match in round 12 with 3 try assists, and you can expect more of the same in round 13. And finally, Corey Evans of the Blues, so he's in both of the games as a centre, but he's playing the Drua at fullback. He's a big attacking threat and a bit of a cheat code considering his position. Into the URC and the penultimate round of matches of the season. Some really tasty looking matches from a fantasy perspective, and there's 4 games that I'll be targeting as a high potential fantasy scoring match. So these games are the Stormers at home to the Dragons. The Stormers welcome the weakest side in the URC, should be a battering. Leinster at home to Zebra. The Leinster will have a massive point to prove after last week, and they may well stick out a very strong team, given that they have no longer got Europe to worry about. Finally, then we've got the Bulls at home to Cardiff and the Sharks at home to Ospreys. All have potential to be massive wins. 5 players I've got my eyes on for this round start with Sasha, Feinberg and Gunzolu. He's been in insane form in the last few rounds and he should run riot against the Dragons. Kicking, running with the ball, tries, assists, he does it all. Andre Esterhazen of the Sharks, he should give the Ospreys a massive headache and he's got the potential to get a big fancy haul for his tries and his offloads. Evan Roos, another player back in hot form, he will give the Dragons a torrid time with his carries. Then I've got basically who's playing at hooker for the Bulls, either Aka van der Merwe or Johan Grobelaar. Whoever plays at hooker for the Bulls should have a big fantasy game. The maul is a big weapon of the Bulls and they will get tries through that avenue. Although if Dan Sheehan is in the Leicester squad, then also you know what to do. And then finally, Afalele Fassi, he's a talented runner and Fassi will, as usual, build up the meters and defenders beaten against an Ospreys side who have a huge challenge to face on the road. Finally, onto the Prem. Quite a few close looking matchups this week. The one that really stands out to me is Saracens versus Newcastle. In the last round, Bath put out a second string team against Newcastle and still absolutely destroyed them. So if Saracens stick out a full strength team at the Stone X, it could be an absolute battering. One to tread carefully around is Exeter versus Northampton. Exeter will be needing a big performance after being completely annihilated by Gloucester in the last round, while Saints may well be resting quite a few players to focus on their upcoming Champions Cup final. Okay, so the 5 players that I'm looking for in this round, starting off with Tom Willis of Saracens. Another monster performance from him in round 15 against Sale. He's simply unstoppable and he's going to be a great captain pick this week. Then we've got Adam Radwan. He got a hat-trick in round 15. He's really starting to settle in nicely at Tigers and he should go well again this week. Gabby Ibitoy, firmly back from injury now and really tearing up again at Bristol. He's expensive, but he's worth the investment. Theo Dan, I assume it will be Theo Dan starting in round 16. And if he is, he should score well against Newcastle. He's due a big score. Finally, Rotimi Shagan. He showed real glimpses of visibility in round 14 against Gloucester. He has the talent to absolutely rip Newcastle to shreds. So as always, more details are available over at fantasyrugbygeek.com. My round 13 Super Rugby picks are already live there, and my Prem and URC picks will be going live on Friday. That's it. Make sure you get your teams in for Saturday, and good luck.